Hello all. In light of the upcoming 50th anniversary of Who's Next later this summer, I've decided to commemorate it early by doing a retrospective series on the Lifehouse, a rock opera that formed the basis for most of the material on Who's Next. It was originally written in 1970 to be the Who's Next studio album after the smash success of their first rock opera, Tommy. The band's experiences while touring Tommy made main songwriter Pete Townshend feel that with the great rapport between the band and the audience members might, quote, dance themselves into oblivion, as he put it, sending themselves into a higher plane of existence through the sheer power of music. The concept was meant to not only be the band's next rock opera, but also a film project that was to incorporate concert footage of the band. Unfortunately, film executives weren't interested in the idea, and the rest of the band had trouble understanding the underlying ideas behind the Lifehouse. As recording sessions for the album started, they were eventually convinced by producer Glenn Johns to trim it down from a planned double LP to a single LP, encompassing the strongest available material. In the near future, pollution levels have gotten so out of control that the government has mandated that the citizens seal themselves up in their homes. Whether this government is merely Britain or worldwide isn't specified. In addition to staying indoors, most citizens wear life suits, high-tech environmental suits that not only protect from the harmful effects of pollution, but also provide necessities from food and water, all the way up to immersive entertainment that is almost a perfected form of virtual reality. This is all provided by the state via the grid, an internet service that directly connects to home utilities in addition to the life suits. The state also tightly controls the content that the citizens experience through the suits. A man named Jumbo controls the grid. The plot begins in a remote area of Scotland that is less affected by the pollution, to the point its residents don't have to wear the life suits. A family of farmers hear of an upcoming rock concert in London called Lifehouse, when a hacker named Bobby breaks into the grid and begins broadcasting messages. Mary, the daughter of the family, runs away to go to the concert. Her father, whose name is Ray, follows her to London. In some versions of the story, his wife Sally accompanies him. Bobby's plans for the concert include gathering personal information from each of the concert-goers, which is then fed into a computer that generates unique songs for each person. At the concert's climax, the songs play in unison until they eventually form a single universal note that lifts everyone present into a euphoric spiritual state. As the concert begins, various citizens are inspired to rise up against the government, and full-scale rioting starts. Jumbo discovers the location of the Lifehouse concert and sends in troops to quash it. A sniper shoots Bobby just as the one note rings out, and in the aftermath, it's discovered that the people at the concert and those watching at home via live feed have vanished. While the riots do cause the government to collapse and be replaced, it's heavily implied that the replacement government will eventually turn out to be like the last one. While the idea of creating such personalized music would have been difficult to translate to film back in the 70s, the concept of the universal note was actually inspired partly by the feelings of unity Pete Townshend experienced at Who concerts during the Tommy tour. He felt that the fact that concerts eventually ended was the only thing stopping these feelings from lifting everyone into a musical nirvana. The concept of Lifehouse was inspired by the writing of Sufi musician and philosopher Inayat Khan. Another influence was Meher Baba, the guru and avatar of Brahman that had previously inspired Townshend during the development of Tommy. While he was unable to properly explain his ideas behind the rock opera to his bandmates in The Who at the time, not helped by the unwillingness of then-manager Kit Lambert to help in interpreting his ideas, Pete explored the concept and story of Lifehouse in later works. Elements of unfinished music turned up again on later Who albums of the 70s. The early 90s rock opera Psychoderelict involved revisiting the Lifehouse concept directly in its narrative. A radio play adaptation of the Lifehouse story was broadcast in 2000. The mid-2000s saw the release of Wire and Glass, a mini-opera that lifted ideas from both Lifehouse and Psychoderelict, while in turn was, in essence, a work-in-progress version of the novella The Boy Who Heard Music. Also unveiled in the mid-2000s was the Lifehouse Method, a website designed to allow visitors to create unique musical portraits, with the general idea being that these portraits would eventually be combined, possibly as part of larger pieces of music, at concerts with the participants receiving a share of the event's earnings. While this idea fell through, an album of several musical portraits was released by Lawrence Ball as Method Music. A graphic novel has been in development since 2019, but as of this video's release, it has not come out yet. As for my next video, we will dive into the songs themselves.